Friday. It is, oh goodness, I'm a bit creaky today. I'm just going to move the camera a little so that you can see me a little bit more. It's Friday, it's time for Movement Not Miracles. I'm Anna from Eat, Move, Be Happy, and yet again we've hit another Friday. It's a bit of a soggy wet Friday out there today, which is not good. It doesn't feel like June weather, that's for sure. So, Movement Not Miracles, all about giving you some ideas on some of the things that you can do at home to keep your joints healthy, look after your posture and stretch through some of those potential aches and pains. And today I thought, to set us up for the weekend, we will go for from our head to our toes. So we're going to do a bit of an all over movement and mobility stretchy session today. So first one, really easy, and you can do these seated or standing. Just because of where my camera is, I'm going to be kneeling for some of them so that you can see, but you can be standing or seated. And as ever, make sure that your base, whatever your base is, your weight is evenly distributed. So we're just going to start with a chest and shoulder and neck stretch. So sitting nice and tall, if you clasp your hands behind your back and stretch your arms away from your body, trying to get your elbows straight. So in order to do that, you have to squeeze your shoulder blades together. That's as straight as my elbows would go. And really stretch across. Think of rolling your shoulders up and down. So you're trying to roll through the top of your shoulders, so you're stretching across the front part of your shoulders here and into your chest. So to do that, you have to really squeeze through your shoulder blades. Don't let that happen. So we're not letting our belly stick out and our back arch. So we're working to keep our pelvis tucked underneath, so your hips forward, and really working through your tummy to keep your ribs under control. So if I turn around, we're going to remember all of that, and I'll turn around and show you from the front. So working to control through the lower part of my body, really stretching through my elbows and squeezing my shoulder blades together. And when you're in that position and you're fairly relaxed, just tilt your head to one side. It should be quite hard work through your arms, and back up to the centre and over to the other side. Okay, and just release. Now a similar sort of thing, I'm just going to do a little bit more work with the neck, but this time we're going to do the one, it gets into your shoulders a little bit more, the front of your shoulders a little bit more. So the one where you cradle one arm behind your back, like that. And in order to get the stretch through your shoulder, you're thinking of back and down, so the same sort of movement that we were doing just then. And head goes to the opposite side. So I am working through my left shoulder, so my head goes to the right. And I'm going to look up and keep breathing. Look straight ahead and look to the floor. And do that one more time. Keep working through that shoulder. Okay, bit of a tactical waggle. Other arm. So again, hold, support the arm. So the shoulder should be back, but your shoulder should be back and down. And your head over to the other side. Up towards the ceiling. Straight ahead. And down towards the floor. So you're just moving through your neck, just to move the stretch into some different places. It's quite a subtle stretch, so it shouldn't be causing any pain, but it feels quite nice across your shoulders and into your neck. Right, so next one, forearms. My forearms have taken a bit of a beating this week, so they're feeling quite tight, and it's really easy to forget about your wrists and your forearms. So arm nice and straight, and just encourage that hand to bend forward, so you're stretching through this part of your arm here. And then if you turn it round, and we'll do the other side. Ooh, gosh, yes, that one is very tight. I've been gripping really hard and I can feel it. Try and keep your elbow dead straight, and then the other way. Another way of doing this is you can lean on a table or into the floor, palms backwards. Can you see? So your palms pointing backwards, and you just rock, which is quite nice. You get a bit of movement through your wrist. It can be quite a deep stretch, this one, so just take it nice and gently. And if it's easier, you can get the same action by doing it that way round. So just a bit of a tactical waggle of your elbows and your arms and your wrists. That's fine. Okay. Downward dog. We did this one yesterday, but it's a favourite and it's a good all over one. So we'll move into the downward dog position. If you are seated, you're obviously not going to get into a downward dog, but you can stretch forwards by, if you imagine I'm seated now, you can stretch forward in your chair by folding your chest towards your knees, but imagine you pushing your bottom backwards. So it's not just a flop down, you're actually working to straighten through your back. So you can still work through part of your body. So hands nice and flat, fingers spread, weight through all 5 fingers, toes tucked under, and as you push back, lift up through the hips. So you're going to get some movement through your shoulders, aiming to really straighten through your armpits. Keep the pressure in your hands. You are working hard through this posture. Hips up, you're aiming for your heels towards the floor. So I showed you this yesterday, but just to give you an idea, in case you didn't see yesterday's video, there's a big difference to just being there. So I'm not putting any effort into lifting my hips or stretching through the backs of my legs, or my shoulder blades are actually quite wide at the moment. They're sort of down here somewhere. So if you're actually going to get any benefit from this stretch, you have to work through your arms and your shoulders and work through your hips to try and stretch through the backs of your legs and through your back. So if I show you, this one's just a non-active pose, so there's not an awful lot of work going on there. Now if I show you, the minute I start to lift through my hips, I get more extension through my armpits, but I can only get that through pushing through my hands. And I'm having to squeeze my shoulder blades together on the back of my chest. So hopefully you should be able to see a different shape. And granted, it is subtle, but there is a different shape. And believe me, this is quite hard work in order to get that. But you definitely feel the benefit from across my shoulders and through my hips and the backs of my legs. What was next? Ooh, right, so this one. As well as my forearms, having done quite a lot of work this week, my feet seem to have, it was almost like I've been standing up lots, which I haven't, but they have been doing a bit of leaping about, I guess. So I thought, I was sitting there last night doing this to stretch out through my big toes. I thought, we haven't done this one for a while, so we'll do this one tomorrow. So sitting on your heels, if you can, and toes tucked under, and you're just going to rock across from your little toe to your big toe, and you should feel a nice stretch through particularly your big toe joint, but also down the base of your foot, which does feel quite good. If you are seated and cannot kneel down like this, you can stretch through your feet using your hands, a bit like doing that action. You can stretch through your feet or do your ankle flexibility moves to get as much movement through your ankles as you can. And then we're going to take this one, so it's similar to a downward dog in that your bum's going to stick up in the air, but your hands go, I will move back a bit so you can see. So this is this is more of an ankle and a calf stretch, ankle mobility and calf stretch. So your hands come down quite close to your knees and your bottom goes up and you're trying to get your heels on the floor. So it's the back of your legs that are working hard here, and I'm trying to push my heels down. That's quite hard for me to do. So we'll come back down and do a little bit more like this. So just rocking from side to side. Stretch through your toes. If you have tension in your feet, I noticed this last night, that because my toes felt tight and the base of my foot felt really tight, and even across the ball of my foot, if you do have tension in your feet, then you can have a knock-on effect up your legs and in the rest of your body. So it was very nice to stretch them out. And do you know what? I think the second time a little bit better because my heels feel like they're a bit closer. One of these days I'll be able to get my heels on the floor, but not today. And that's okay. We do what we can do. Right, another ankle one, which we haven't done so far this week, so I thought it was worth reviving. I don't think we have anyway. So, kneeling on one leg. Heel, the closer your heel is to your knee, the more of an ankle mobility move this will be. But heel is in line with the front of your knee. And the first thing to think about is you need to be working quite hard through your glute on the leg that's kneeling. So my right leg is kneeling. So my right glute is contracting now to push that hip forwards. I want a straight line through that hip. So that hip is forward and supported as much as possible. And then this knee, we're working to keep out. We don't want this to happen. So from the side, again, if I'm not working in this posture, then I'm just kneeling here. There's no stability, and if I were to, actually I need my foot there, don't I? Foot in the wrong place. But there's no stability there, and I can just move into that, but I'm not getting a lot of movement through my ankle, and I'm certainly not getting any support in my hips, and my bum is sticking out. So what we need to be doing is working hard through that glute to keep that hip forward and this bit stable, and then working hard through this glute to keep that knee back. So, as ever, these are active. I'm actually going to do it on this side because my knee was hurting because it's been kneeling down. So we're going to go this side first. So these are active moves. Let me move over again. So, hip forward, knee back, and you are think of using your bottom, your glutes, to push yourself forwards rather than just moving any old how. So there's a real control, and you're trying to keep that heel on the floor, which on this side for me is quite a challenge. Keep that knee back. And see if you can hold it for a second as far as you can go. There we go. Okay, and we'll go the other side. The closer your heel is to your knee, the more of an ankle mobility move it is. Use your bum to push that knee forwards, keeping that heel on the floor. Okay, and then we're going to take that one, this time, same sort of setup, but this time your heel, I keep moving out of shot, don't I? This time your heel is further away, so when you push with your glutes this time, you're going to get a nice big stretch down the inside of your thigh and work more into the groin. So this is going to be more of a mobility through part of your hip joint and into your groin. Still work through your glutes. These are good moves to help you, what we would call switch your glutes on. So you can do these moves. If you forget about your glutes, forget about the muscles in your bum and just do the move, you can still do the move, but now my glutes are not contracting. Whereas if you work hard through your butt and contract your muscles, you can actually get your glutes to switch on, which is good for general movement. For walking and for running, we should use our glutes more than we do, most of us, than just our hamstrings and our quads. Make sure I don't move too far. Swap sides. Heel a bit further away this time. And a nice big stretch. So as you can see, it's less of an ankle move because I cannot move any further forwards than that, so I can't get my knee over my toe, but I have got a nice big stretch down here and a stretch down the inside of my thigh. So it's definitely working through my groin, which again is useful to mobilise so that you don't get any stiffness. There we go. And then the last one, we'll do a twist and a piriformis stretch, so the muscle in the outside of your bum. If you are seated, you can bring one leg, one ankle onto your thigh, push that knee down towards the floor and lean forwards. If you're with me, move one knee, sitting nice and tall on the bones of your bum, your straight leg, toes towards the ceiling, bent leg, foot on the floor. Hug that knee with the opposite elbow, hug it in tight, so you'll feel a nice big stretch in here. And then work to twist your body around. So I'm thinking of, can I move my belly button towards the outside of my thigh? And I'm pushing, moving the floor away with my hand behind me. You need to stay sitting tall and you need to broaden across your chest. If it all caves in, you're not going to get much movement. So you sit tall and move around, and just as you breathe out, think of moving a tiny millimetre more. And keep hugging that knee into your chest. If you are more flexible than I am, you might be able to get your elbow on the outside of that thigh, but you need to be able to get your chest round for that to happen. And I can't. So you do what you can do. Right, sitting nice and tall, other foot on the floor, hug this knee in. Oh, blimey, this one's even tighter. And then pushing the floor away from behind, and think of each breath out, moving my chest around, and just breathe. Make sure you relax through your head and neck, relax through your jaw. Okay, well done. So, head to toes, a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but hopefully everything feels a little bit more mobile. And as ever, little and often, if you can do some mobility stuff throughout the day, it will certainly help joints stiffening up, which then causes muscle constriction and all sorts of aches and pains. So keeping mobile is really good for all of us. So have a fabulous weekend and check out the website www.eatmovebehappy.com. Lots and lots of information about things, health and well-being, physical health, moving better, eating better, mental health, some really good tips for looking after your mental health. Just some practical things that you can do to help with some of the strategies, the coping strategies for when perhaps the day is not going as was planned. And certainly in lockdown, I have found maybe that my mood has been going up and down a little bit more than it normally would, which I think is understandable. So there's some top tips in the mental health series, and just some interesting stuff around health and well-being. And if you're interested in the Eat Better, understanding your relationship with food, so check out the website. There are different subscription levels, and you get 5 days free to go and have a look around. www.eatmovebehappy.com. Have a fabulous weekend, and I will be back on Monday. See you then.